I think if you've been around the Pokemon community for a while, and I guess if you've just been looking around gaming news, you would have known that this year was the 25th anniversary for the series. And a lot of people are wondering what exactly Game Freak and the Pokemon Company would do to celebrate this. But right now, all we really know is that the new Pokemon Snap game is releasing in April, and it looks really nice from the trailer. And there are a bunch of other rumors going around. Like, for example, I remember hearing a rumor for the Pokemon collection around last October, and it would come to the Switch. And I think it would be very fitting for it to actually do happen. And with this video, I kind of want to talk about like what could possibly be in the collection in terms of features, games, and whatever else I could think of. Let's start off with the games, and I want to try to be realistic here because saying all the generations from 1 to 7 would be extremely wishful considering that it's modern Game Freak, and I feel they just would not add every single one. It's very possible, I would imagine, but I feel the safer option would be just slapping some of the older generations just like a small amount. Which ones I think would be put would definitely be generations 1 to 3, since I feel again those ones are just the most likely. Generation 1 is the most obvious because it is the first one. Generation 2 and 3 are fan favorites. I feel Gen 4 wouldn't be there just because that's also rumored to have a remake or just being ported to the Switch sometime later. I don't know if that's true, but I genuinely feel that that's why it wouldn't be here. Of course, who the hell knows what they're planning? This is my guess for the generations. Of course, they could maybe just add generations 1 to 5, who the hell knows? But again, I do feel generations 1, 2, and 3 feel like the most likely additions to this collection. But what games from the generations would they add? And I feel it would be the most definitive versions of said generation. So to me, it would be Fire Red and Leaf Green, Emerald, and Gen 2 remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. We did get the OG versions of Gen 1 to 2 on the 3DS, like, Red, Blue, Yellow, I think, along with Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So that's why I picked the Gen 2 remakes over those ones. Emerald, on the other hand, I think it's basically the same case, where I feel it's a very good way to experience Generation 3, and this one has the Battle Frontier, so I feel that would also draw in a lot of people. But now I say we just move on to the features because there's not a lot of talk about the games, and one feature I actually want to see added has to be online play. There really isn't a good way to play the older games with others online, since for the most part you need to get the original consoles and also have a link cable. But if you play the DS games or the 3DS games, you can actually play local wireless, but even then you still have to play it locally. Or you can mess with emulators and have the ability to play online and use external devices to also help that. But for the most part, again, it's just local wireless. I know there is Pokemon Showdown if you want to play the older gens online, but frankly, I feel a lot of people would just want a way to buy them on the model system without having to resort to just buying the games and play them locally. And especially in this condition, we can't really do that since, it's still the thing going around at this point of the video, and I just again wish that if the games were ported, they actually do have online. I also would really like to see a lot of like fan modes added into these games, like a randomizer mode, a Nuzlocke mode, a monotype run mode, and stuff like that, just because it would be a really cool way to play through the games if you ever do get bored of them. And I really do wish, again, it was a in-game toggle in these ones, just because I've noticed that there was a ROM hack that I played a good while ago that did have it, and it's called Nameless Fire Red. And I really think that, again, if they just take a little bit of time, they could just add these in. And a lot of the challenge rules I think are also really fun and just can be really creative if you ever do, again, get bored of playing through the games normally. And on the topic of challenge, I think it would be a nice time to bring back the challenge mode from Black and White 2. This can also breathe some fresh air into the older titles just because, again, you can play them on a higher challenge. And I think it shouldn't be the same way in Black and White 2 where you have to complete the entire game first just to get it. I feel it just should be unlocked from the very start. And I only think this would take a lot of time to develop just because I feel like a challenge mode would just be mostly, again, what they did in Black and White 2, where they just put in like an extra Pokemon or two in the gym leaders teams, maybe change their moves around a bit and stuff like that. I also really hope that the collection would have some sort of connectivity with Pokemon Home, just because it would be really nice to be able to transfer your team from those games into the modern games really easily. Because if you want to transfer all the way from the Game Boy Advance to the modern generations, you basically need a Game Boy Advance. This one's optional, and at least one DS and one 3DS. and just a whole bunch of other games. So this option, the one I've said with the collection, would be just a lot easier. I also do think this is kind of expected just because in the virtual console versions of the Gen 1 and 2 games, you were able to transfer the Pokemon Bank and then you could transfer that to Pokemon Home. Another feature I think would be kind of nice, but I'm not expecting, is that you could transfer Pokemon into the older games. And I feel it would be kind of cool to see if you can actually have some sort of ability to transfer the hidden ability versions of these mons into the older games. I feel this would be kind of cool just because it can make a lot of the older generations just a little bit more cool just because you have slightly more options. I'm not expecting them to add in like all the new moves and all the new typings and stuff like that, but like I feel the new hidden abilities could be a little bit easier to program in. Again, this last one is pretty out there, I admit, so I'm not expecting it, but still would be kind of interesting. It also would be really cool to have the old event legendaries in the game just because if you try to get them nowadays, it's almost impossible. Since I have heard where you can like maybe get like some e-reader cards to like some really close copies of them. I'm not exactly sure, just scan them in. But again, it's a lot of work and I feel not a lot of people would end up trying to do that because even before in the past, you more or less had to go to a Toys R Us or wherever else to get the item via local wireless or just, through the link cable. And again, that's not really around anymore. So I feel if they just added them in this game, it would be really nice. Some other minor additions I also think would be kind of cool would be different filters similar to the Super Nintendo and Nintendo Entertainment apps on the Switch. And maybe a little bit more considering the fact that a lot of other emulators have a lot more options from what I've heard. Also, having a controller configuration option would be really nice just in case if you ever wanted to just, change your controls. And having a speed up option would be extremely good just because, in case you ever want to grind, you could just easily speed it up and just grind at 2 times the speed or whatever. And that's pretty much all of the things I hope makes it into this possible Pokemon collection. Obviously, I might have missed some stuff here and there, but now in that case, I kind of want you guys to comment down below what you guys would want to see. Again, thank you all for watching, and I would like to see you guys in later videos. So again, subscribe if you wanna, like the video and do whatever else, and see you guys later. And again, thank you for watching.